Hey everyone, this is Dr. Casey Johnson. Thank you so much for taking time to listen to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I know you're going to love today's episode with Odelia Silva. Odelia is doing some amazing work, so I'm excited to have her on to share her story with you guys. If you've been loving the Unlock Wellness podcast, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. The Unlock Wellness podcast is now on patreon.com. Patreon is an amazing site that allows you to support your favorite podcasts. You can learn more by going to patreon.com/Dr. Casey Johnson. Also, be sure to follow me on social media to keep up with the latest podcast episodes. The best way to connect with me is on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. My username across the board is at Dr. Casey Johnson. That's DrKaseyJohnson. You can also check out my website at drkaseyjohnson.com. It has all of the past podcast episodes and more information about each guest under the Listen tab. While you're on my site, also be sure to check out the Shop tab where you can check out my first book of my Healthy Children's Book series and learn about the Unlock Wellness Project, which supplies a wellness bag to a child in need for each book purchased. Thank you again for listening. I hope this episode leaves you feeling inspired to start making positive changes to your health. Now it's time for today's episode. I hope you love my conversation with Odelia Silva. Welcome to the Unlock Wellness podcast. I'm Dr. Casey and excited for today's guest. I'm here with Odelia Silva. And Odelia is a plant-based fitness and nutrition coach who empowers women to get strong and feel comfortable in their own skin. She's doing some amazing work. So I'm excited to have her on to share her story with you guys. So Odelia, thank you so much for taking time to come on. I'm excited to have you.
Thanks. No, I'm really excited to be here. So thank you so much.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. And so why don't we jump into your backstory? First off, where you're from and what your health and wellness looked like as a kid.
Yeah. So I grew up in California, Northern California, near Lake Tahoe area. And as a kid, I had a pretty good childhood. I played outside all day. Me and my sisters would just come up with random games. We were always building forts, So it was a really fun childhood growing up. Eating wise, we did have a lot of junk food, but my mom did make a lot of homemade meals, which was really nice, but she wasn't really strict about it. So I just grew up eating chips, like hot Cheetos and ramen.
Right. Like most people.
All the candy. Yeah, it was really tasty and easy, convenient Hot Pockets. Yeah, so then my childhood was great. And then when I turned 12, that's kind of when things started shifting for me. And I feel like that's kind of what led me to where I'm at now. A week after my 12th birthday, my older brother committed suicide, and that kind of just started a bunch of, I don't know how to describe it, just a mess at home. Then my parents went through a horrible divorce. And
how old was he?
24.
Wow.
So he was pretty young. Yeah. And then my parents kind of blamed each other. So that just led to a divorce, and it was dragged on. And then my sisters were really mean to me, but I realize now it's we were all just in pain. So growing up after 12 years old, it was kind of hard at home. So I spent a lot of time alone. And then that's kind of when I realized that kind of life, I don't know, isn't fair sometimes, but it is what you make of it. So I spent a lot of time going on walks by myself in the woods, and I realized life isn't fair. But then that became empowering because I realized I could do something about it. So instead of giving up on school, which I did, my grades started dropping. I actually did well in school. I brought my grades up, and I was able to go down in Santa Barbara for school because I wanted to get away from Portola. I wanted to move away from home. So I moved down there, and that's kind of when the healing process happened, just because my dad was really depressed and my sisters never wanted to hang out with him. So I would always go hang out with him, but his depression made my depression worse. And my mom and I did not talk at all. And neither did my sisters and I, because we were all just hurting, So I moved down there, and I just felt very isolated and alone. And but that's kind of when I realized how powerful it is, surrounding yourself with amazing people. So I started making friends with strong women, other amazing, supportive women. And that's just kind of definitely helped with the healing process. I made friends, they helped me heal. I just decided I wanted to do something with my life and I wanted to help others who were struggling as well, just because I didn't have that growing up. So that's kind of why I'm a health coach now, just because I want to be there for other women who may be hurting. And I honestly think the plant-based diet definitely saved me, just because I was struggling with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. I had an eating disorder for a while, and I realized that's not who I wanted to be. And then I found the plant-based diet, and I was like, wow, this just seems amazing. And I feel like once I started healing myself from the inside, I became more compassionate with who I am. And that just changed. It drastically changed. And I feel like within the past 2 years, I've just realized like, wow, life is amazing. And I just have so much energy and I just love life and being alive. And I just want to inspire others who may be struggling to realize that life could be amazing. And I do think it starts with what you're feeding your body. If you're feeding your body amazing, high quality foods like plants, I think healing just starts from the inside. And I think that's how it happened with me.
I love that. No, I love how you, I love how self-aware you are, because I mean, like you were talking about, just you knew that changing your environment would change everything for you. And I love like how you were talking about how it started off, you were kind of isolating yourself, but you ended up realizing like that was the best thing, because you were able to start the healing process and you were able to realize like life is what I make of it. Because of most people, especially, that have gone through things like that, it could go either way. Like you could drastically go one way or the other. So I think it takes a lot to develop that self-awareness, and whenever you've gone through something so traumatic.
Thanks. So yeah, I think definitely wasn't all, linear. I definitely I went through a drinking phase, or, like I did do random stuff like that because I just didn't know better and I was just trying to figure it out. But ever since I was young, my dad would always just tell us that whatever decision we make, we're the ones that are gonna like suffer the consequences. And I feel like that just stuck with me. So all that time I spent alone definitely helped me realize that what my dad was what he meant. And that really did help me, because I did realize that I was in control of my own destiny, I guess you could say. And then I heard a quote somewhere that said, no one's coming to save you. And it sounds really depressing, but honestly, it did really empower me, because I realized like that I could be my own hero, and I feel like once you heal yourself, and it's like you can heal another person, I feel like it's like a ripple effect.
Absolutely. No, I love that. And I mean, how did you find plant-based eating to begin with? Because it's obviously something that's not the most mainstream. It's getting up there, but it's not quite. Like, how did you come across it?
Right. And I come from a very traditional Mexican household. So it was like when I first told my parents I was giving up all animal products, they literally thought I was the weirdest person. I got made fun of. Like when I went to this Mexican restaurant to order a burrito, I was like, yeah, I just want beans and rice and salsa. And he's like, no cheese. I was like, no meat. The guy actually asked my mom, was like, what's wrong with her? But so it wasn't common, especially then in my household anyways. And so I found it because I was really passionate about the environment. I wanted to do environmental engineering. But at that time, I feel like I was in such a dark place that, I don't know, it just seemed very depressing for me. So I had to find something else. And then, so I kind of forgot, did my own thing, and I was switched over to nutrition. And then one of my teachers said, if we went and watched Cowspiracy, we got extra credit. And I almost didn't go watch it. I was like, I don't want to drive downtown to go watch this documentary. But I was like, okay, I'll go. And I went, I walked out of the theater and I instantly was like, okay, I'm going vegan.
I like your teacher.
Right? And so after that, I was doing it for the environment, but I wasn't eating healthy. I was a very junk food vegan,
Right.
And then once I started learning more about it, I started educating myself. I was like, wow, like plants have a lot of power. And so I started shifting from a junk food vegan to a whole plant-based diet. So now I eat very minimally processed foods. Like for me, cereal's like a junk food that I'll eat every once in a while. But yeah, so that's how I found it.
That's really cool. No, and I love how you were talking about it earlier, just using nutrition as a way to heal from the inside out. Because I mean, that's for any aspect of your health or even mentally, everything starts from inside. It's the whole healing process. Yeah, I mean, like you were saying before, just what you eat literally becomes you. So like if you're eating, even as like a junk food vegan, like if you're eating Oreos and all these processed chips and all this like garbage all the time, like you're becoming that. Like your thoughts are becoming that. Your actions are. It's really cool just to hear how people transform as they like change the quality of food that they eat. Because I mean, I don't know. I just think the body's just so amazing and smart, and it's really awesome to see how people transform not only physically but mentally as they start to make those changes.
Right? It really is incredible because I believe in energy. I believe we're all energy, and I feel like if you're feeding your body the right foods, it does increase your energy. And
Definitely.
then I feel like if you're eating junk food, I feel like that just signals to yourself that, oh, this is how I'm treating myself. This is how I see myself. But so for me, I think self-love means feeding yourself the right foods. And isn't it kind of crazy how, like now when people go, and now it's becoming more popular, but how back then it was so weird if you went vegan. Everyone was so concerned about your health. But then if you think about it, the more you're educated on it, you realize, wow, I was eating cereal, processed sugar for breakfast with dairy milk, and I was having like coffee and a bagel and pizza, like all this food that people think like, oh, you should be eating this, it's just insane how they don't question it.
They don't. I mean, nobody cares about the Lucky Charms or the random pizza McDonald's lunch, but as soon as you start having a smoothie for breakfast, like you're gonna get protein deficiency and die. Like it's insane.
Right? Exactly. If you don't have meatballs in your spaghetti, like is that even a meal? Or like so my family like once I went vegan, they were very concerned. They would always just say, like, just have one taco, just a little bit, just a little bit. But what's pretty cool is that because they've seen me change. Because I was I was so different. Like I was still a very happy, like a positive, or I would always smile, right? Saying like, oh, everything's fine. I never really told anyone I was hurting, but like my family could tell that I was just very angry. Like I would get angry really fast. I was just always like just down. And after I switched, like they could tell how happier I am, how healthier I look. And so now they actually come to me for advice. And last week they just did like a 3-day juice cleanse and they loved it. So it's cool to be kind of a role model, to kind of like lead by example. Because even my roommates, when I lived with them last year, they both said, they're like, yeah, since you moved in, our fridge, look at it. This is the most vegetables we've ever had in our fridge. Like we don't even buy meat anymore. We only eat it if we're out, at a restaurant. So it's crazy how far food, like the plant-based movement is going, and it's pretty exciting. I love it.
It really is. It's such a process, but it's so worth it. Like, the more you can be consistent with it around your friends and family, the more they'll ask questions and the more they'll be willing to try it out. Because, first part of it, they want to see if you're like serious about it, right? Because, they don't know about it. So the more that they can see the positive results from you and you walk the walk, they want to experiment and do a juice fast and things like that. So I love that. And at least your family, like they eat a lot of Mexican food. I feel like Mexican food is the easiest food to kind of veganize.
In a way, yeah, especially with the meat alternatives now, it is definitely easier, but it is also kind of harder just because they love the carne asada, all the meat, because it's very centered, like the meals are very centered around meat.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, so it's pretty cool. I love that. I don't know, we can have an impact in people. And I feel like if you're not pushy about it, because I have had multiple friends who have also are more like vegan friendly or eat more vegan. Just because that's what they've told me. They said these past few years, like I've seen a difference in how you are now. And so like now they're adding more vegetables or, they're skipping the meat, and it's been great. And I feel like it's because you can't be pushy, I've noticed.
Right.
Because I'm still friends with, a bunch of non-vegans, and I never judge them. Because I always just let them know, like, hey, you eat how you eat, I'll eat how I eat, And I feel like that's key.
It really is. And I'm 100% with you on that. And it's when you come from a place of love, people are going to be more receptive to it. And no, I love that 100%. And like, we were talking about, it's definitely not a protein deficiency problem. And, if people follow you on Instagram, like you're super in shape, you are a fitness trainer. Like how did fitness become a big part of your life? Or were you always super into it growing up?
I definitely, back then I thought I was into health, and fitness, but it was just I just wanted to be skinny. So I thought like, oh, as long as you starve yourself, you're like healthy, you're a fitness freak. So I'd go on runs, but I definitely was not a health freak when I was growing up. I did play sports here and there, but I just thought when I was healing my kind of like depression and eating disorder, I got into lifting. At first, I hated it, because I was like, I don't want to be bulky. I don't want to, all the stereotypical concerns I feel like girls have. But then I found it to be so empowering because I was able to like lift weight that I wasn't able to lift before. And I feel like if someone tells me I can't do something, it always makes me want to do it. And back then, my ex who got me into lifting would question me because he'd be like, well, where are you getting your protein? Like, how much are you getting? Are you sure you can, get strong, blah, blah. And I was just kind of like doing my own thing. I said, yeah, I can get strong on a plant-based diet. And so I kind of wanted to prove to myself and just kind of to the people who kept telling me I couldn't. And then I just keep getting stronger, and I love it.
That's awesome. And I mean, fitness, you were saying that you started doing that to help your anxiety and depression. I mean, fitness really is a therapy and a form of feeling like you have control in your life. Like, do you feel like that was a huge part of your healing process, or was at ever time, was it become a negative thing? You know what I mean? Because some people can kind of take it too far when they're dealing with stuff like that, just because it is a control thing as well.
Oh yeah. Before I got into lifting, I was really a big runner, like right before. And I would run up this mountain. It was like 8 miles round trip from my apartment. And then at night I'd go do beak run. So I definitely took fitness to an extreme because it did give me that control and it would kind of numb me. But then I was having like kidney issues just because I was going too extreme with fitness and I was dealing with bulimia and not eating enough. So then when I found lifting, I feel like that one, I did it in a healthy way. I feel like lifting just kind of helped me realize that I don't have to work out for 2-3 hours every day at the gym and I could still get results. And it just it was just fun lifting weight and getting stronger, and you can lift something you thought you couldn't. So with lifting, it wasn't a control thing. I think it was just feeling stronger and then be able to like carry all your groceries from the grocery store,
Right.
doing things like that,
Right.
And I was nannying, so it was nice to be able to lift the kids up in the air and do fun stuff. And so for me, lifting wasn't unhealthy. It was like I came into it with a healthy mindset compared to like how fitness was before. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think people take for granted about how like much, as far as like fitness and lifting, it is almost more for the mental than the physical. And I think people focus too much on the physical. And if you realize it's just as much for your thoughts and your mental health altogether, it could help make it a more sustainable part of your life, because it really is just as important for the mental as it is for the physical.
Oh, I definitely agree. 100%.
How have you noticed, other than, I know you talked about it being super empowering and just overcoming obstacles. Was there any any other aspects of just developing mentally and developing as a person that you got from pushing yourself with working out?
Honestly, I feel like now I love having muscle on me, which I didn't think I would love back then. So I feel like just physically and mentally.
Yeah.
I feel like fitness and eating a plant-based diet just combined helped me, because I always struggle with insomnia. And now it still amazes me that I can sleep. And I feel like it is because I have a healthy workout schedule and I'm eating healthy, so it has impact other areas of my life in that way as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good point though. Like when you mix the two of those, it's really, just you add those two things to your life and your life's going to look drastically different, which I love. And I've heard so many times, and plus the recovery time's faster, which is always a plus.
Yeah, I love it. I'm never achy. I can, I work out, I'll be sore, but I can still go hard. And my boyfriend, it's nice because now I feel like he's like 85% plant-based. But he's noticed a difference as well, because before he struggled with like joint pain and just, I feel like the recovery time wasn't there. And now that he eats more whole foods, more plants, like his recovery time is better. His joints are feeling better. So definitely.
That's awesome. And yeah, no, you started seeing all of those positive changes for yourself. And when was it that you decided that you wanted to like try to coach other people or try to help other people? Or did you have like so many friends coming to you that you realized like, hey, I could really put myself into this and like help a lot of people?
I think it was a combination of both, because I feel like I love reading, I love learning, and I love to share it. So anytime I'd read anything, I was telling everyone about it, especially if it impacted my life in a positive way. So I feel like once I've seen such a huge difference in my life, I wanted to just impact others in that way. And then just because I was always sharing what I was learning, my friends would always come to me and ask for advice. And I've noticed that, wow, I can actually make a living helping others. Because when you read so much or you study nutrition or follow all the fitness blogs, like for me anyways, I always feel like everyone already knows information. But it always amazes me when I do talk to someone who has never really been exposed to nutrition. You know, they grew up eating the cereal and thinking frozen waffles are healthy, you know?
Right.
It's crazy to think, like they don't know the fundamentals, you know? So for me, it was fun. It's fun just educating them on the baby steps that they can do. So I got into it just because I was always educating my friends. And yeah, so that's kind of how.
I love that. And I mean, it's really rewarding too when you have people that you've connected with, maybe you don't know on a personal level, and they reach out and they tell you that you've made a huge change on their health and their life. Like, has there been any people that you've helped personally that's really had a big impact on you, like once you heard their story?
Let's see. Because I feel like there's so many little ones, you know, and it all adds up.
Right.
But I honestly think it's just like my friend, like my old roommate. She was always getting sick, always. And she struggled with acne her whole life. And as a roommate, I never like to just be like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, you know. So it's only if they ask for advice, I will give it. And so last year, she finally came to me and was like, hey, like I'm seriously always getting sick. And you always have energy and you seem, you know, like, she was like, can you just help me? So I was like, yeah, sure, of course. And so living with her, I kind of already knew her eating habits and, you know, her just life habits. So I started making changes, and it was just crazy because then she like texted me, because I was like traveling at the time, and she like texted me. She's like, I can't believe it. Everyone at the office got sick and I was the only one that didn't get sick. And I was like, this is amazing. And then she was like, she's like, I understand what you mean by energy. She's like, I woke up and I ran up Madonna. It's another mountain on the Central Coast where I used to live. She's like, I ran up Madonna. She's like, I've never felt this great. She's like, I get what you say when you wake up with this like high, like this energy high. And then and also her skin. She's like, my dermatologist told me that I can't fix my acne with food. And she's like, it's crazy. She's like, yeah, my skin, I've never felt my skin this smooth. I just love touching it all the time. So like for my roommate, she's had those kind of changes, and it's just great. I mean, other people as well, but I just love, because I moved in with her and I noticed like she was always getting sick, and to now where I'm like, wow, Brianna, like you're like thriving, you're doing amazing. And so it is pretty cool being able to share what you've learned, you know?
Yeah. And like you're saying there are a bunch of little changes, but those aren't little changes, you know, those are big changes. And, you know, and you don't know how that impacts so many other people, right? You know, you help somebody, that impacts how like they raise their kids and how they raise their kids, you know, and you don't know who they help in the process. Like they help somebody at work, like you don't know the domino effect of that. So even though there's like little changes, like those are very, very huge changes.
Right, that's true. No, yeah, that's very powerful. See, my roommate, she said she starts sharing with her coworkers. She's like, I even sent her the PDF you sent me. So yeah, that's so true. You have a good point. I definitely believe in the ripple effect.
Yeah, no, 100%. And yeah, so I mean, you are doing coaching. You do a lot with fitness. So like, what are you working on right now?
I really want to, I actually considered starting a podcast as well, especially your podcast inspired me. I was like, oh, she's killing it. I would, you know, like it'd be cool to have my own. But I was thinking of doing a podcast. I don't know. I feel like I have so many ideas. I also want to write a book. My boyfriend and I are actually going to travel the world here pretty soon. And we want to learn from other cultures. Because I love Ayurveda. I love Indian medicine, Eastern medicine. And so we're going to travel. And so for me right now, I just want to learn more about other cultures and how I can implement that in my own coaching. So for me right now, I feel like I have a lot. So I'm just trying not to get overwhelmed and just kind of keep moving forward. But yeah, I think right now it's just learning more.
I love it.
And possibly starting a podcast.
Hey, listen, if you should, and if you do, definitely let me know if you have any questions, and I'll help you as much as possible. So that'd be amazing.
Oh, thanks. You're awesome. And I'd love to have you on. That'd be awesome.
Hey, yeah. Help me.
Then I could ask you questions.
I love it. No, I really love all the work you're doing, Odelia. And I know the more that you put out there, the more you travel, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm very, very excited for you. And what is the best way for people to follow you on social media? That way they can keep up with your traveling as you do that, and then also everything that you put out.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna start a YouTube channel so I could vlog. So that's gonna be fun. But people can follow me on my Instagram. It's Odelia Silva. It's a hard one to spell, so Odelia Silva, Silva. And also Facebook, but I'm mainly on Instagram. And then I will be starting a YouTube channel, but I would announce it on my Instagram. So yeah.
Perfect. I'll put those in the show notes, and then once you start the YouTube, I'll put that in my story. That way people can just go click and give you an ad on all of those. And yeah, so Odelia, just a closing question that I ask every guest. But if you just had one piece of advice for the audience, maybe it's something that's been your biggest takeaway through your wellness journey, but if you just had one piece of advice to give, what would it be?
As cheesy as this sounds, but I honestly feel like it helped me so much, is I would say try practicing this every day, where you look at yourself in the mirror and you literally just tell yourself that you love yourself. So when I first started healing from my eating disorder, I would look at myself in the mirror and, you instantly start critiquing and criticizing everything. And so I just started telling myself, Odelia, I love you. And it felt so cheesy, but with time, it seriously just shifted how I just viewed myself. And I feel like because of that, I was able to eat a healthier path. I was able to just heal a lot of old wounds. And so that would be my takeaway as for wellness, is learning how to love yourself and telling yourself you love yourself without feeling awkward. But that takes practice. So that would be mine.
No, that's perfect. And I love that. And it definitely is true. So yeah, Odelia, just thank you so much for taking time to come on. I loved having you, and I'm excited to watch all the amazing work that you do and excited for your podcast. So get it going.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. You're awesome.
Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you loved my conversation with Odelia. She's doing so much positive work, so be sure to give her a follow on social media to keep up with everything that she's been working on. You can find her social media links that we talked about in the episode in the show notes, but you can also find them on my website as well at drcaseyjohnson.com. That's drkaseyjohnson.com. Click on the Listen tab. Then from there, you'll be able to see all of the past guests that have come on the Unlock Wellness podcast, read a little bit about each guest, and be able to click on their social media links, websites, all of that. So all of Odelia's information can be found on my site as well. If you guys loved today's episode with Odelia, be sure to jump onto iTunes, subscribe, and write a review. It really helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate all of the feedback and support. Also, be sure to check out patreon.com/Dr. Casey Johnson to learn more about how you can support the Unlock Wellness podcast. Thank you guys so much again for tuning into today's episode. I hope you loved it. I hope it inspires you. And most importantly, I hope you take action.